Hello guys, back to Ollie's on the Ball. Another new video. Just want to mention we did hit 50 subscribers yesterday as of recording, so thank you to everyone that subscribed, and new record for a tips video apart from my first video, so thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. This video is top 5 worst trades in the AFL era. There probably is some that probably could have made this list, but these are just some that I found that are pretty horrendous, and the clubs probably want them back. The first one, honourable mention, is Collingwood and Melbourne are involved. This happened at the end of 2022. Collingwood received pick 28, I think it was, which was Jacob Ryan, and Melbourne received Brodie Grundy. So now you're thinking, oh, this is a good trade for Melbourne, but Brodie Grundy only played 17 games before being traded to Sydney, where he currently is in 2024. So he didn't play much, so that's not good. And even though Jacob Ryan's only played one game for Collingwood, he's got a whole career ahead of him. He could still play 200 games. So I'm going to give it an honourable mention because it can still develop and be a really bad trade from Melbourne. For the fifth worst one is Bulldogs Richmond involved. Pick 19, the Bulldogs received, which they chose Callum Ward, who played 60 games for GWS before signing with the newly formed GWS, where he still plays today. Richmond received Jordan McMenamin, sorry for the pronunciation, who played 34 games. So definitely Bulldogs are the winners, and Callum Ward, as he could have played more for the Bulldogs if he hadn't joined GWS, but it was a good selection because he's played 296 AFL games, so he's probably going to reach 300 this year, which is an outstanding achievement. Next one is number 4, Adelaide North Melbourne involved. Wayne Carey traded from North Melbourne to Adelaide. He only played 28 games, but he did kick 56 goals before retiring. He played 2 seasons at Adelaide. It was not very good compared to what North Melbourne got. Pick 2, Daniel Wells, who played 243 games at North Melbourne, like a further 30 at Collingwood. And pick 20, Chris Shaw, who did not make his debut before being delisted. I think he was on North Melbourne's list for 3 years. But North Melbourne definitely the winners in this trade, getting a 243 game player. For a player they would have only got 20 or 30 more games out of. And potential prospect who didn't end up firing, but still they gave him the chance. So yeah, North Melbourne definitely winners in that trade, and yeah, there's not much else to say about it. Number 3, St Kilda West Coast were involved. This happened in 2012. St Kilda player Jamie Cripps was the main headline in this trade. Traded from St Kilda to West Coast. He had only played like 14 games, 16 games at St Kilda. So West Coast only gave St Kilda pick 40, Brodie Murdoch, who played 22 games, and pick 43, Josh Saunders, who played 22 games. So both made starts, but obviously must have got delisted. And West Coast got Brent College, who played 3 games across like 3 seasons. But Jamie Cripps, he's the real shine out in this trade, playing 217 games with West Coast, and he's still playing and could easily play another 70 games. So he's definitely a very good pickup for them for picks 40 and 43 who did nothing. So it's not like they are like that it's not like the players that were drafted at pick 40 played 200 games. And Jamie Cripps is still only 31, so he could play for another 5 years. So that is good, really good for West Coast. St Kilda definitely lost this trade. But yeah, it was just poor choice, really. Next trade, number 2, Carlton and West Coast. West Coast involved again. This was the Chris Judd and Josh Kennedy trade, a pretty significant trade. Chris Judd had just played for West Coast. They had won a premiership. Chris Judd won a Brownlow at West Coast. He had already played quite a few games for West Coast, like at least 100. So he was already a very established player, already playing 134 games for West Coast. But then they swapped. Carlton gave West Coast a young Josh Kennedy who had only played like 10 games or something. And he was looking alright, but he wasn't like a superstar. But Josh Kennedy decided to turn the Jets on and played 271 games with West Coast, kicking 712 goals, winning 8 leading goal kickers at West Coast, 2 Coleman medals, 3 All-Australians and 3 best and fairest, and West Coast all-time leading goal kicker. So he has had a stellar career and definitely probably got a lot more value out of him than they would have expected. Pick 3, West Coast chose Chris Marston, who played 215 games, so that's a pretty solid career. And with pick 20, they chose Tony Note, who played 2 games in 3 seasons at West Coast, so not much, but the other 2 were amazing, so I don't think they'll be complaining. And Carlton got pick 46, Dennis Armfield, who played 145 games for Carlton, which is a pretty good career. And then the final trade, number 1, the big one, this was in 2001, and this is one of the worst trades. This would have to be the worst trade I've ever seen. Freo gave pick 1 to Hawthorn for Trent Crowe, who had already played a few games for Hawthorn. He had already played, I'm just looking at it now, 84 games for Hawthorn. He was a young prospect, only 22 when they got him, so they're thinking, yeah, he'll be good. Played 38 games for Fremantle, and then in 2 years, and then he went back to, he had homesickness, he started homesickness, and went back to Hawthorn to play a further 100 games, to play 184 games for Hawthorn, playing alongside Luke Hodge, who they basically gifted Hawthorn as the number 1 draft pick. Luke Hodge, one of the greatest players of all time, played 305 games for Hawthorn, won 4 premierships, and had a stellar career. And yeah, he was just one of Hawthorn's best players for a long time. Some of his honours: 3 premiership captain, 2 Norm Smiths, 3 times All-Australian team, All-Australian captain, Hawthorn captain, 2 best and fairest, AFL Players Association Best Captain Award. So he really won everything you could really win. He played 346 games, kicking 194 goals. Definitely Freo the losers in this trade by far. And then he moved to Brisbane, and as in Hawthorn got enough out of him, no one can get angry at him. It's not like he played 10 games and then went to Brisbane. So that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching Ollie's on the Ball. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and see you next time. Bye!